A little more than a year ago, I put together my first YouTube video, a commemoration of the 700th anniversary of the death of Dante. Today I shall talk about Paradiso, with particular attention to the final canto. It is here that Dante finally attains a direct vision of God. He tries to put that experience into words, but he takes pains to tell his reader that he thinks his poetic powers will fall short of the task. His modesty on this point is not new, for at strategic points throughout the Commedia, he has called upon the Muses and even the god Apollo for inspiration. And yet, his modesty is really just a rhetorical trope. For Dante succeeded about as well as any human in history to convey what it means to be in the presence of God. But if you're going to achieve this goal, you need to be more than just inspired. You need technique and a firm command of the literary tradition you've inherited. So let's examine this final canto with attention to those poetic aspects. Canto 33 begins with a prayer to the Virgin Mary spoken by Saint Bernard. We recall that Beatrice has accompanied Dante on his journey through Paradiso, and she's left the scene in Canto 31. In that canto, Dante said a prayer to her, and there are echoes of that prayer in the present one to the Virgin Mary. In any case, Saint Bernard of Clairvaux, who lived in the 12th century, is an ideal successor to Beatrice as Dante's companion on the final leg of his pilgrimage. And that is because Bernard's expertise is contemplation. He wrote a treatise on the subject. And when you're in the presence of God, contemplation is about all that you can do. His prayer to the Virgin Mary is full of paradoxes. In line 1, she is addressed as daughter of your Son, and in line 2, as humble and lofty. These paradoxes prepare the reader for the ultimate paradox that Dante must come to grips with near the end of the whole poem, namely, the incarnation of God in the person of Christ. Near the end of the poem, Dante uses a metaphor to express this paradox, and that is the image of a geometer who must measure the circle or square the circle, which obviously cannot be done. The impossibility of doing so lies in the fact that 2 pi r, the circumference of a circle, cannot be expressed as a rational or finite number, since pi is an irrational number. The prayer to the Virgin Mary is not simply there as a testament to her importance. It is, above all, a prayer on behalf of Dante, who still seeks salvation. But it is not until line 22 that Saint Bernard refers to Dante, albeit with a demonstrative pronoun, or questi. Now this man, who from the lowest pit of the universe, even unto here, has seen one by one the spiritual lives, implores thee of thy grace for power, such that he may be able with his eyes to rise still higher toward the last salvation. I'm quoting Charles Singleton's translation here and throughout this video. The grammatical and poetical construction here involves a frame, whereby the ends of lines 22 and 27 refer to the limits of the journey. This man, Dante, has come dall'infima lacuna, from the lowest pit, verso l'ultima salute, to the last salvation. Next, in line 28, Saint Bernard refers to himself, e io, and I, who never for my own vision burned more than I do for his, proffer to thee all my prayers. Soon after the prayer, Saint Bernard signals to Dante to look upward, but Dante is already doing just that. What he sees is light. And yet, as he says, my vision was greater than speech can show. To compensate for the impossibility of putting this experience into words, Dante refers again and again to light in the final cantos of Paradiso. Here are some examples from Canto 30, starting at line 61. E vidi lume in forma di rivera, fulvido di fulgore intra due rive, dipinte di mirabil primavera. And I saw a light in the form of a river, glowing tawny between two banks, painted with marvelous spring. Canto 30 reaches a climax at line 97. O splendor di Dio per cui io vidi, l'alto trionfo del regno verace, dammi virtù a dir com'io il vidi. Lume lassù che visibile face, lo creatore a quella creatura, che solo in lui veder ha la sua pace. O splendor of God, whereby I saw the high triumph of the true kingdom, give me power to tell how I beheld it. A light is there above, which makes the Creator visible to every creature that has his peace only in beholding him. And so, in Canto 33, we can hardly be surprised to find 9 distinct references to light, lume or luce in Italian. The word for light is always accompanied by an epithet or a demonstrative. Here are those 9 examples. Luce eterna, eterno lume, l'alta luce, somma luce, semplice luce, quella luce, vivo lume, l'alto lume, and lume riflesso. More paradoxes are presented as the poem draws to its magnificent conclusion. One is the idea that a single moment passes more slowly than the 25 centuries that have elapsed since the voyage of the Argo, which caused Neptune to wonder at its shadow. Un punto solo me maggior letargo, che 25 secoli all'impresa, che fe Nettuno a mirar l'ombra d'Argo. Another paradox involves being motionless and moved at the same time. Thus, in lines 97 to 98, Dante tells us how his mind was all rapt, gazing, fixed, motionless, and intent. Così la mente mia, tutta sospesa, mirava fissa, immobile e attenta. Yet, in the closing lines, we have the final image of Dante's desire and will being moved by God's love. And again, we encounter the trope of modesty. Here, power failed the lofty fantasy, but already my desire and my will were revolved, like a wheel that is evenly moved, by the love that moves the sun and the other stars. All'alta fantasia qui manco possa, ma già volgeva il mio disio e il velle, siccome rotte ch'igualmente è mossa, l'amor che muove il sole e l'altre stelle.